It is taking a while to load. Oh, there it is. Okay, finally.
I was waiting on me. That's what it was.
Yeah. Well, hello, y'all. Apparently, it said that it's been on the air for 15 seconds. Come on, let's catch it up. It is time to breathe again on the latest Breath of Fresh Air webcast, streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. So you see Patrick Brackett along with me, Charles Taylor, and we are back. Patrick, this is our first show of the new year. So welcome back. I hope everybody did great and got a lot of time with the families and their loved ones as the holidays have went through and as we get into this new year. Everybody glad to be back and hope to see y'all on here. Get on here, hit us up with some comments. And as you can see, Patrick has his Georgia background for good reason, because Georgia is the national champions again for the second year in a row. So we will get to that here in a little bit. But first, Patrick, I wanted to talk about what happened last Monday night, because we haven't been on here since that happened last Monday night in the game between the Buffalo Bills and the Cincinnati Bengals. You heard about the safety, Damar Hamlin, going into cardiac arrest. And they had to bring him back to life, basically, give him CPR on the field. So he didn't die on the field. They were able to get him to the hospital, and throughout the week, there were reports that were coming out saying he's improving. And then on Thursday, he was able to talk to the team, and he was watching the game when the Bills were playing the New England Patriots on Sunday, and now he is back in Buffalo. It has come a long way from what we were seeing on Monday night, because dude almost died. He almost died. And watching that, seeing the shocked and sad faces that were there in the stadium, Paycor Stadium in Cincinnati, and you watching it on TV, maybe listening to it on the radio, it was just eerie, very, very eerie. And it's good to hear this young man, 24 years old, looks like everything is going to be okay. Still has a long way to go with the recovery, but the fact that he's able to leave Cincinnati to come back to Buffalo and have a hospital in Buffalo take care of him until he's ready to be released, just awesome news. Now, of course, there were wanderings of whether or not the NFL wanted to continue the game. Now, look, Patrick, again, number one, first and foremost, it is the safety of the player. Number one. Mm-hmm. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. It is about the safety of the players. Just far too many times, the NFL says they're about player safety, but their actions speak otherwise. I say that because if there were reports that said the NFL wanted this game to continue instead of postponing it and later canceling the game, I don't think you and I especially would be surprised about that, because
they said it on live TV.
Yeah, and it's the NFL. It's the NFL. Yeah. We know they are about their money train, and that's not us just throwing the stuff out. Their actions say that. Yeah, that you're about player safety, but you add games. This
is what surprised me. Because when I was watching that game, I walked away on the play that where Damar falls. Mm-hmm. And when I came back, he was on the field, and I was like, what the heck happened? So I'm sitting here, and then they replayed it one time. They only replayed it one time. And I was like, ooh. As soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, yeah, that man ain't coming back. I was like, get him off the field, get him to a hospital right now. That's what I kept thinking. And so what, 30 minutes have passed. They finally come back, and the refs literally were like, I saw them holding their hands up, and one of the announcers was like, well, just came back down that the refs have told them 5 minutes before they start playing again. I was like, bull crap.
Yeah, Joe Buck and Troy Aikman were doing that, and Joe Buck was the one who said that, and he was getting this from the, I guess, from the official, that how they have an official or a former official that is there in the booth with them to review calls, is getting that from them. And yeah, it's just, it's not surprising. Like if that was the case, it's not surprising. It's not.
No, I wasn't surprised at all. I said to myself, well, I was saying right there, I said it out loud, but nobody was listening because I was all by myself. And I was like, no, coaches, meet up, go to the locker rooms, call it a wrap, and then dare them to bring you back out on the field and say, and that's what they did. I guess they heard me, is what I'm saying. Because I was like, no.
The thing about this, Patrick, is unfortunately, we know football is a violent sport. Yes. Yeah, people are going to get hurt, and there's going to be some injuries that could shake you up for a little bit. Saw that earlier with Tua Tagovailoa, the quarterback for the Miami Dolphins. The injury he had on the same field, actually. That injury also happened in Cincinnati.
That's a bad place to play.
It's a scary coincidence. It just, a lot of catastrophic injuries have happened on that field, and you hope they don't keep happening, and you hope that they don't happen at all as you're watching the game. But football is a very violent sport, and people are going to get hurt. I mean, they're going to get hurt at some way, shape, or form. They're going to be hurt. There's going to be really bad injuries, broken limbs, broken legs. We've seen spinal cord injuries, and the NFL, just you get them off the field and they're ready to play, and there's no thought of even postponing the game. They just continue playing. And so I don't know if you caught the article that I wrote, Patrick, but I had to do a deep dive into myself. And so I'll go ahead and I'll bring this up to the people who are watching right now. I had to do a deep dive in myself because, one of the first things I was thinking was, well, man, this is actually different. And different, when I say different, I mean good, that the NFL decided to postpone the game. Now, whether it was the coaches, which I believe it was the Bills and Bengals who said, no, we're not going to play it. But whatever the reason is, the NFL said they weren't going to play it. And so I think as football players, as humans, we are told to keep going, keep pushing, no matter what happens. Just keep on grinding. And those football players, I think they understand how things are when it comes to injuries, and they're kind of programmed themselves to keep going, to keep pushing. Go ahead and play for our brother, which, apparently Damar Hamlin's father was like, hey, man, go out there and play because that's what he would want you to do. We've been programmed to continue going, to keep pushing, but I don't see anything wrong with acknowledging the fact, hey, man, this shook us up. And so that's why I think I had to do a deep dive into myself, because that was my attitude with it. Keep going. Just keep going, keep pushing. And I said, no, man, let's take a step back and acknowledge, hey, these football players are humans too. Yep. I get they get paid a whole lot more, and I get they do superhuman things on the field. I mean, these are some of the best athletes, conditioned athletes in the world. You have 6'8", 340-pound guys running 4.8 40s. I mean, this is the best of the best right here. Yep. But they're human too. So if there was a case for them not to play this game, I was all about it. Because I do think there has to be some sort of understanding of the human element. These guys are not robots. We're not robots either. And I think, to bring it more full circle, Patrick, I think we try to act like we are bulletproof a lot of times. And dude, it's okay to have those emotions. You see something like that, it's totally fine. And I don't think we were looking at it, probably not even 5 years ago, like that. You're just like, nah, man, look, go over there, get up and play. But
5 years ago, I can tell you nobody was looking at it like that. I can tell you right now, when I saw it on Monday, I was like, I ain't going back out. I wouldn't go back out there. I was like, because he is a human. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand. I look at a lot of these players, and I've said this before. I look at a lot of these players, and if everything's cool, do what you do. It's for entertainment. I do it because I want to watch it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, I want you to go home safely to your family. I want you to go home intact. I don't want you going home on a stretcher. I don't want you going home on the back of a cart. I don't want you having to wheel around that stupid looking scooter because your leg is broke, because you can't walk. I don't want all of that. You know what I mean? It's just like it was just like that year when Atlanta was playing the New England Patriots and Tom Brady, and I was like, man, I bet you hope that Tom Brady's injured. I'm like, no, I don't want him injured. I hope he doesn't have a good game, but I don't want him injured. I mean, there's so many things that is like, he's a human. You know, he's a human first. He's a person. Past that, I hope his talents suck, but I don't want him to die. You know what I mean? I don't know. To me, it just they get paid to do a job. I want them to do that job. If they're injured, let's take the time to make sure that he's okay. Let's take the time to see what that means. And in Damar Hamlin's case, you suspend that game. There's no question. There's no question. Nobody's walking out there on that field being able to play a football game and in the mindset that they're in. There's another injury waiting to happen at that point. You know what I mean? No, we stop, play, we figure out what that's going to be. We resume when we find that out. Done. That's it. There should be no question, and the NFL should have been ashamed of themselves. They should have been ashamed of themselves for saying that. And that's not public outcry. You know what public outcry is going to change their direction anyway. But the thing that it should have been said was, okay, let's see how this is, and we'll discuss it and make the right decision. Right decision, game's done. I don't care how many. I don't care how many minutes is in it. Game's done. You give those people back a portion of their money. Go home. That's it.
Well, all right, Patrick. Well, this at the main part. Good thing about it is Damar Hamlin. He looks like he's going to be okay. He is back in Buffalo, doing all right. Looks like he's recovering well. So that's the first and foremost thought. And it looked like the Bills, they got a good shot of adrenaline hearing them and seeing them. And I don't know if he's been back to the practice facility as of yet. I think he's still in the hospital.
I think he's still in the hospital. But and I mean, they even have him as critical condition still.
Yeah. So yeah. But it looks like things are improving, and hopefully they continue on that track. And forget about the football career for a second. Let's just make sure he can be a good functioning human before we worry about all that part.
Absolutely.
Well, Patrick, let's go ahead. And you know how it is with some of these difficult transactions and the stuff. But the national championship for college football happened, and your Bulldogs, as I mentioned earlier, are the two-time defending champs now, or that they were crowned two-time defending champs. Blasted TCU 65-7. You and I, we had Georgia winning. Not by that score. That was very, very surprising.
That was close.
But Georgia looked like just bigger, better, and faster. Looks like Kirby Smart really got into them after the scare they had against Ohio State. I mean, you have to give Ohio State credit as well. They played a hell of a game. Ryan Day came in with a very good game plan for them. CJ Stroud showed some things that I didn't think he was capable of doing. I mean, the dude, Ohio State brought it in that game. And so Georgia was able to dig down deep, pull that one out, and boy, They look very, very sharp against TCU there.
Well, let me say this about Ohio State. Ohio State fans, be very, very blunt about this. I'm not an Ohio State fan. Never have been, never will be.
No, really?
I have given, yeah, I know, right? I have given the Big Ten tons of criticism. Ohio State hasn't played anybody, and this is year after year after year. The Big Ten is a horrible conference, and blah, 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 right? Okay. There's a lot of things that it's not going to change about the way I feel about that, but I will say this. When Ryan Day made that comment, we will be physical, quote unquote, I said, there's no way. If you can't be physical against Michigan, there's no way you're going to be physical against Georgia. Shout out to Ryan Day. Me and you have said it. I'm not a huge Ryan Day fan, and nor have I really thought that he was a great coach by any means. But hey, shout out to Ryan Day for having his boys on both sides of the ball very, very prepared and played very physical. I was shocked. Pacing in my house for 2.5 to 3 hours, but I was shocked at how well they played. They didn't make any mistakes. None. Georgia ended up with the win. Very pleased with that. But man, you got to give that Ohio State team a ton of credit. They played fantastic.
Yeah, they were ready. They came in very, very prepared to play. And I mean, my score was 48-20. Georgia was going to win that game because I didn't think Ohio State haven't shown they could be physical. They kind of turned into a finesse team. Just throw the ball all over the place. They weren't going to run the ball well. And on defense, they were getting pushed around, especially in that game against Michigan. That really didn't happen in the game against Georgia in the Peach Bowl. And you have to give them credit for being ready. They were very well prepared. They had 2 14-point leads in that game, and Georgia was able to come back and hit some big plays. And I will say again, that timeout Kirby Smart called, for anybody who remembers the play, that timeout he called before Ohio State was about to pull off that fake punt, that might have been the best ever timeout that I've ever seen
in my life.
in my life. Yeah.
I mean, that play alone should go in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
That's it. Hey, you want to see the best timeout ever? Watch this. Yeah.
Because at the time, Ohio State is up 38-27, and they convert that. That's at least another 3 minutes, 2-3 minutes gone off the clock, and it was already down to 8 minutes in the fourth quarter. Yep. So, that timeout happened. Instead, Ohio State ends up punting. Next play, Georgia gets the ball. Big play, 76-yard pass to Smith, and Georgia was off for the comeback. And I mean that timeout, dude. That you always, like you said, Patrick, you always talk about plays that kind of flip the game around in terms of momentum. Well, that's your case of a timeout.
Yeah, that was a huge timeout. Hey, Jim Harbaugh, take notes. Jim Harbaugh, take notes. Oh my God, that game was horrible.
Oh, and I know you said that you're normally critical of the Big Ten, and you're going to give a little bit of shout out to Ohio State, which I agree with you there. The Big Ten Conference is still catching it, though. Two teams in the two teams in the playoffs.
Two teams
First out. Trash.
Dude.
Trash. I don't want to hear. Do not want to hear how good this conference is. That was your two best. Michigan and Ohio State, that's your two best teams. And they
Big 12 came in and handled it one, and the SEC handled the other.
You had 50%. You had a 50% chance of winning this bad boy. And
in 6 short hours, you have 0.
Yeah. Get to the final. So no, I had to get that in there. Not all Big Ten hate is gone. And it's not really hate.
No.
This
I
ain't
am
really
giving
hate,
Ohio
though.
State that
It's
credit.
just-
That's it.
Yeah, it's not really hate. It's facts. It is facts. You know, so. but Patrick, hey, Georgia, this is about them. 2-time champions came in there, finished the deal. Give credit to Stetson Bennett, this walk-on who a lot of people did not think was the quarterback that was going to be able to lead them to these 2 titles, and he did that and more with his play. He was a Heisman Trophy candidate, and the offense stepped up. So you can make the argument, and I'll ask you this before we move on. With these 2 teams for Georgia, the 2 that just won the national championship, is it a stretch to say this Georgia team, this one that won last night, is a little bit more well-rounded than the one that won last year? Would that be a fair thing to say?
I would say so because they have an offense this year. Last year, they didn't really have an offense. They relied on that defense to get them everything, right? Well, this defense was just as good as the other one. Well, I'd say just as good within reason. It wasn't as good because they allowed Ohio State to score 41 points. Really kind of on them down. But yeah, I would say that's a fair assumption. I mean, like I've had this question as like, was TCU overrated? And I was like, no, they're not an overrated team. They made it there because they deserved to be there. And they were like, well, Georgia pounded them. I was like, I just think the spotlight was too big. I mean, I do. Look at the game and look at how many times TCU blew coverages. I can count in the first half, like right off the top of my head, 10. And that was in the first half. And those big plays allowed Georgia. Now, Georgia ran it down their throat. I mean, that was just point. But the big plays, like the wide open to Washington over the middle, nobody can be that open. The wide open, well, he wasn't really wide open, but the open play to Bowers, the 3 open plays in the middle to Bowers, the one to McConkey, the one to Mitchell. I mean, these were big plays over the middle, and I'm like, it's blown coverage. Every single time it was blown coverage. The one to what was his name? Was it 76-yarder? I can't think of his name right now. Smith. That one right there. That was blown coverage. Every one of them were blown coverage, and I really think that the spotlight was just too big.
Hold on. You're talking about the one against the TCU game. Oh gosh, I'm trying to remember. That was either Smith or Mitchell, one or the other.
It was Smith.
Okay.
Yeah, it was number 11, Smith, because Mitchell was number 5.
That's right.
So every time it was blown coverage. And no, I don't think that TCU was overrated. They beat some really good teams to get there, including don't know how to take a timeout, Michigan. I just think that this spotlight, this one right here, national championship, beating Georgia in a trying to stop them from going back to back, that spotlight, that was hard. But Georgia had a great defensive plan against Duggan. I mean, they had 2 spires the entire game and didn't let him run. So they were ready for him. Georgia was ready for him, and a long spotlight being for TCU, this is the outcome you get.
Yeah, and you just look at that defense. So it kind of reminds you of the game against Tennessee that Georgia played earlier this year, where the defense was just locked in, man. They're on points. There wasn't any blown coverages. Well, they had the one where Davis got deep on them early in the game.
Yeah.
But other than that, man, Georgia was dialed in, locked in. That defense was nasty. They were attacking. They were aggressive. And they were really, really disciplined. And yeah, I mean, Kirby Smart, man, he done built a monster with y'all down there in Athens. So it's gonna be tough to knock y'all off. So look, I mean, I'm not gonna go as far as to say, all right, Georgia's on the way to being like what Alabama has turned into. But y'all are on y'all way.
What they do.
Yeah.
If Georgia repeats,
Yeah.
I'm in college history that's ever happened.
Yeah.
At that point, I'm gonna have to be like,
Yeah.
I'll take it. Good Lord, a three-peat? Man, bet. I mean, you saw signs of him in the fourth quarter, bro.
Yeah, and those tight ends are coming back.
Yep.
Bowers and Washington, they'll be
Bowers
back.
and Washington's coming back. Mitchell's coming back. Or not Mitchell. McIntosh is coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Smith is coming back. I think we're only losing like 2 people on defense. And and most of those defenses was freshmen and sophomores. Now we got sophomores and juniors. I mean, Georgia's going to be hard to beat next year, and they got a very favorable schedule.
They do, yeah. So it doesn't. I mean, what got Tennessee later on in the year? You have to go up to Knoxville.
That's about it.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, Ole Miss comes to y'all. And I think other than that, I mean, we'll see. I mean, we'll have to see what South Carolina's coming with. South Carolina showed improvement. We've mentioned Tennessee. Have to see what Florida does and Kentucky does in y'all division. So potentially there could be something with those games, but yeah, I mean, Georgia's going to be favored in all those games. So
yeah.
Patrick, real quick before we move on, man, I have to show this slide for the last time.
Oh God.
And look, you did all right, and you're still winning. You're winning by 1 game. So
how the hell did I win?
It's the week where you went 6-0 kind of put you over the top. So so for the bowls,
so I won overall.
Huh?
I won overall.
Yeah, you won overall by 1. Yeah.
Oh, so Georgia.
For the bowls.
Dang.
So for the bowls, we went through the New Year's Six Bowl, and we didn't post anything for the national championship game, but I did post something on Facebook telling y'all the scores that we had. Georgia went by, and we both got that one right. So the New Year's Six ones, the 2 playoff games were in there. We both missed the Michigan game. We both had Michigan beating TCU, but of course TCU won. We both had Penn State losing the Rose Bowl to Utah, but they demolished Utah actually in the Rose Bowl. So credit to Penn State because I didn't see that coming. And you missed the Cotton Bowl.
I missed the game.
Yeah, you missed the Cotton Bowl between Tulane.
Shout out to Tulane, man. I was riding them all year. And then get at the last game, man. My fault. That's all me, Tulane. Hey, thanks for the season. My fault.
So, but that is your bowl. That's your season. Those are from the games that we picked out this season. And Patrick beat me by 1 game. So Patrick, good on you for winning this year's
Georgia.
Yeah.
Georgia. Dang.
So good on you for winning the picks, the pick 'em for this year. Hopefully I can get revenge next year, but we'll see.
Back to back, baby. Back to back.
So Patrick, hey, good day for you. You won. Georgia won the title, and you finished out on top of the slides.
Well, but I squeaked it out, man. Even after, this is what's sad. Even after the 6-0 I went, you still came back and almost got me.
Oh man! Well,
you're Ohio State, not Georgia. No, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. That's blasphemous. I am so sorry. You are not Ohio State. I'm sorry. I know it hurt. I can see. I can see the tears coming down your eyes. I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. Deep apologies, man.
It's all right. Man. So, well, Patrick, we have about 15 minutes. So let's get these wild card picks in for the NFL. So we got wild card weekend coming up, and we will start with this game right here. So you have a matchup between the Seattle Seahawks and the San Francisco 49ers. So the 49ers playing at home, number 2 seed in the NFC. Seattle snuck in there by the Detroit Lions knocking off the Green Bay Packers on Sunday night. The Seahawks were able to get that spot. Props to the Lions, by the way, for going to Lambeau Field and knocking off Green Bay with nothing to play for.
Right.
That team can be really good next year. The Lions.
They're gonna be nasty good, dude. Like I mean, I don't know how we're gonna pick that one next year, but we got 4 months to figure that out. So I'm good.
Well, Patrick, so you got this wild card game here between the Seahawks and 49ers. Who do you have winning? And
there should be no surprise. There should be no surprise who I have San Francisco as my to make it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, me too. And I'm a 49er,
baby. Only San Francisco. Bring them. Seattle's a good team, man, and the way Geno Smith has orchestrated the way they played this year, good job on him. Really good. But at the end of the day, man, I just think San Francisco's defense is just stronger. And they can throw up quickly. So let's go. Oh, do I got to give a score?
Yeah, you can give a score.
So let's do San Francisco. Let's go San Francisco 35-20.
All right. Sounds good. I got San Francisco too, of course. Now, as y'all know, I am a 49ers fan, and I also had them going to the Super Bowl too, playing the Buffalo Bills. 30-16 is the score I have. So I think we both have them by 14 points. I have the 49ers. Yeah. I think the 49ers are just, I'm with you, just too strong. Now, there is a dynamic of them being in the same division. So it's one of those things. It'd be difficult to beat a team 3 times in a season, but I'm with you. I mean, I think the 49ers are just too good. Defense is too physical. You said they have all their weapons back. Deebo Samuel came back. Elijah Mitchell came back. He's joining Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, and hey, man, Mr. Irrelevant, Brock Purdy, still doing the thing.
Still doing the
thing. So we're in agreement there. Yep. So we're in agreement there with the 49ers. Let's move on to the next wild card game. This one could be interesting. This one, Patrick. Saturday night, you have the LA Chargers heading to Jacksonville to take on the AFC South champion Jaguars. We did not have that coming at all.
We would have said that.
Woo! But Jacksonville, they are the winners of this division, and they get to host a playoff game. It's going to be a nice live stadium down there in Jacksonville as the Chargers come to town. So you have 2 young quarterbacks there who are on the rise, and Justin Herbert for the Chargers and Trevor Lawrence for the Jaguars. The Chargers have a lot of their people back, weapons back, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Austin Eckler in the backfield. But Jacksonville's bringing some power too. Travis Etienne, he came back from that foot injury to have a very good season for him at running back, and those receivers have stepped up for them. And Jacksonville quietly has a ball-hawking defense as well. So with that, Patrick, who do you have winning this one?
Jacksonville 30-27. I'm riding it. The way they played last Saturday, bro, I got it. I got to. And they're at home. They got a chip on their shoulder. And this is the first time since, 2016? Bro.
Yeah, 2017 when they went to the where did they go? Yeah, they went to the AFC Championship game and got knocked off by the Patriots.
Jacksonville 30-27.
You know what, Patrick? I'm with you, man. I think Jacksonville's gonna win too. Here's the thing too, because the Chargers are constantly overhyped. I think the only team that is more overhyped than them are the Cowboys. More on them in a minute, of course. But but the Chargers are always overhyped, man. Justin Herbert is supposed to be the best thing since sliced bread, and this is his first time getting into the playoffs, and he has to go on the road to get a win. I don't have a problem with Justin Herbert. I mean, I've heard interviews with him, and he seems pretty low-key, pretty mellow. He's very quick to give credit to his teammates and stuff. He doesn't seem all cocky and stuff. But I just think everybody tries to hype him up, and they want to put him in Canton with the gold jacket already. And this is his first trip to the playoffs. So, in that regard, he's going to have to show me. I'm going to have to see a big performance against Jacksonville for me to say, okay, maybe he is on his way. He might have an all right performance, Patrick, but I don't think it'll be enough either. I think Jacksonville is hungry. They're coming in. Oh, by the way, they beat the Chargers 38-10 earlier this year. Yep. So I think both teams have improved since that time. That game was in week 3. So both teams have improved since that time. So I don't see Jacksonville winning by 28 points this time.
I don't either.
But I do have I think they're going to win by more than what you have it, man. I think they'll win by 6. So I'm going to go 33-27. So you still got the 27 score. But I think they'll win 33-27. Or maybe 30. No, you know what? No. Yeah, 33-27.
It's a good pick, man. I like it. Jacksonville has went on this run. They went 1-7 first half of the season, and then all of a sudden they're 9-8. Let me tell you, they're good.
They're on a roll. Going back to the 49ers game real quick, man. The 49ers have won 10 in a row. You talk about hot teams. 10 in a row. My goodness. Let's go to Sunday's games then. I think both of us will be in agreement for this one too, because, we have the Buffalo Bills also coming out of the AFC. They will play the Miami Dolphins on the early game on Sunday. That game will be up in Buffalo. What can you say about the Bills? They have Josh Allen playing quarterback. The running game looks like they're starting to get some running game from the actual running backs. Devin Singletary, James Cook is in there as well, giving them some good running. If they could do on the passing game, Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis, among others. And their defense is playing solid. We mentioned the Damar Hamlin injury. Looks like they're getting a shot in the arm. Just like extra motivation with them there. This is a Twitch message. Is it a promotion? You start getting. Hey, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you tuning in and watching us. Yes, the Bills look like they're ready to roll here. Miami, they limped into the playoffs. They had lost 5 in a row, and they were able to beat the Jets in a defensive battle. Neither team really had their quarterbacks. I know, Patrick, I'm tired too. I am too, dude. I'm tired. Tired.
But working on it. Well, I had to do that, and we'll talk about it later.
So Miami limping in, and we don't know what their quarterback situation is looking like. Tua Tagovailoa is still in concussion protocol, and Teddy Bridgewater has a broken finger, so we don't know if he's going to play. They might be running Skylar Thompson out there. Does not look good for the Dolphins at all. So, what's your score? I already know, Buffalo winning. What's your score?
34-17.
34-17. Yep. I tend to think it's going to be worse. I think.
Even with a limp, you can score.
I think it's going to be. I'm going 34-14 is what I'm going. If Skylar Thompson's going to be out there, I just don't see any way. Even if Tua was out there, I just don't see any way for them to go up to Buffalo. Now, look, if you look at the season series, they both won a game. Both games were close. Miami won down in South Florida. Buffalo won up there. Like home field advantage is going to matter, and if Miami's a little bit down, then yeah, I think that score is going to get driven up. So yeah, 34-14 is what I have for Buffalo. How about this game here? Giants and Vikings. So Minnesota, number 3 seed in the North, or excuse me, in the NFC. But pretty much all their wins were one-score games, and they have Kirk Cousins as their quarterback. Take that for what it's worth. They have weapons. Justin Jefferson, one of the best receivers in football, if not the best. Adam Thielen on the other side, Dalvin Cook, but their defense is bad. The good thing, I guess, in that regard, is the Giants don't really have an offense that scares you. The receivers are that it might be the worst core receivers in the league. They don't really have a lot, but they do have Daniel Jones, who's playing a lot better at the quarterback, and they have Saquon Barkley, who's managed to stay healthy running the ball. And their defense is pretty solid. They played earlier this year. Minnesota won on a last-second field goal, go figure, to win that game. So who do you see winning this one, Patrick? Do the Giants go in there and pull this off?
I'd like to say yes. I mean, I think they could. I really do. But like you said, that offense is just not scary. But this game is not scary. 13-10, Minnesota.
13-10. Dude, I'm picking the Giants. I am. Yep, I'm going.
13-10 Giants?
No. You know what? I think it'll be a little bit higher scoring. So when Minnesota beat them earlier, it was 27-24. Last second field goal. So I think it'll be in the 20s. I'm going 24-21. Giants. I think they will pull this off. Minnesota, again, same thing, man. Kirk Cousins, show me you can win the playoffs. I know he had a win in 2019 when they went down to New Orleans and beat the Saints in the wild card round, but that's the only one. I have to see more from Kirk Cousins. And like I told you before, Patrick, he just looks constipated out there. Mm-hmm. The dude looks like he knows he's about to boo-boo on himself at any given moment. And
I think that's the reason why he doesn't get sacked.
Yeah,
he's boo-boo on himself, and he's going to accidentally throw a touchdown. I seriously, I think he's going to accidentally throw a touchdown, and that's what's going to win
it. So we'll see, man. There's one of our few disagreements as we're working through this wild card round lineup. But I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if Minnesota won the game, and I'm sure you wouldn't be surprised if the Giants pulled that out either.
No, wouldn't be. It wouldn't surprise me if the Giants won 13-10.
Well, all right, Patrick, 2 more games. Let's look at this Sunday nighter between the Baltimore Ravens and the Cincinnati Bengals. So Cincinnati, they just played last week, and Cincinnati won. I think it was 27-16 was that score. So the game will be in Cincinnati again. Baltimore, we don't know the status of Lamar Jackson. And Lamar Jackson has been out for the last 5 games. He missed the last 5 games. And so we don't know the status if he's going to come back. We know Baltimore can play some defense, so they'll be able to keep him in the game, and they're going to need every little bit of that, particularly if Lamar Jackson does not play, because Cincinnati has that offense with Joe Burrow throwing to Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd. Joe Mixon running the ball. Cincinnati looks strong. They look like a team that is capable of making a run. To me, I know a lot of people talk about Kansas City, who is the number 1 seed in the AFC and has a first-round bye. The Eagles, of course, has a first-round bye in the NFC. But if Buffalo is going to get knocked off, to me, Cincinnati is the biggest threat for them. And that is a possible second-round matchup. So, who do you have winning this game? I mean, I'll tell you right now, I think Cincinnati is going to win, especially if Lamar Jackson isn't going to play. But I might say that even if Lamar Jackson did play.
I would agree with you. I got Cincinnati 27-20.
Yeah, that's a good score. I'll go 30-16. Particularly if Lamar Jackson is able to play, that definitely puts Baltimore in the mix. But how rusty is he going to be? What is he bringing to the table in terms of the health, and how healthy is he really? So I think Cincinnati. You're right. I think Cincinnati's clicking on all cylinders, and I see them winning that game as well. So I'll go 30-16. Finally, Patrick, the Monday night game is the Dallas Cowboys against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So the Cowboys, again, just like last year, they had 12 wins, but unlike last year, they did not win the division, and they're going to have to start the playoffs on the road. We know the stories because it's always pushed in our faces all the time with the Cowboys. You have Dak Prescott as the quarterback. He's been an interception machine lately. They're not running the ball all that well. Bottom line, and the defense isn't playing that well. Micah Parsons, who's supposed to be the best coming, the defensive version of Justin Herbert, the best thing since Jesus, has become a virtual no-show. So, in other words, Dallas is doing what they always do, falling apart toward the end of the season. Now they go to Tampa Bay. We know Tampa Bay has struggled, but they were able to put it together enough to win this the NFC South, and they're hosting the playoff game. So, Patrick, who do you have winning this game?
Tampa 30-20.
Love it. You're just like short and compact. Just like with Justin Herbert, again, Dak Prescott, show me. Dallas Cowboys, show me.
I'm not sold on Dak Prescott at all. I'm like, at this point, like he's not your guy.
No, it looked like he done regressed. It looked like he's an interception machine now. And anytime there's a good defense he's playing against, he struggles mightily. Mightily. I mean, that game against the Commanders was awful. And then for the people who are like, oh, well, they weren't really playing for anything, blah, blah, blah. You had Dak Prescott in there, and he threw 37 passes and completed 14.
You were playing for something. I don't know what you were playing for, but you were playing for something. If you have Dak Prescott in there, you're playing for something. Especially if he is your, what do they call the main guy?
Franchise quarterback.
Franchise quarterback. If he's your franchise quarterback, you're playing for something.
So,
it's as simple as that.
Awful, dude. Awful. And I'm with you. Tampa Bay is going to win this game. Look, Tampa Bay, regardless of what you say, and with them struggling throughout the year, look, there's still a lot of players on that team who was on the Super Bowl winning team a couple of years ago. So I think they're ready to go. It's a clean slate, and hey, they still have Tom Brady. This is now it's Tom Brady's season. It's Tom Brady's time of the season now. Yeah. So I got Tampa Bay winning by what'd you say, 30-20?
30-20.
All right. I'll go 31-24 is what I'll go. I almost said 2 touchdowns. Because Tampa Bay's defense can be a little bit leaky at times, I think Dallas will be able to score a little bit, but they're not winning this game. I'd be very, very surprised if they win this game. And then, hey, just where I'm at here in Dallas-Fort Worth, the sky will be falling again. And, hey, it's the normal close of the season here in Dallas when it comes to the Cowboys. So Patrick,
and the sky hasn't really fallen.
Yeah, I mean, the sky never really got up there, right? So when it came to Dallas, the ceiling is the roof.
Yeah,
as Michael Jordan said. So Patrick, before we get on out, man, I wanted to bring a baseball factoid up, and it's about Carlos Correa. So. You give your thoughts on this real quick, man, before we head on out. Carlos Correa, we re-signed. Apparently, he's going to re-sign with the Minnesota Twins. We know the story. He apparently was going to sign with the San Francisco Giants. They had concerns about his physical. That deal fell through. So now, hey, the New York Mets, we got him. 12 years, $315 million. Oh, damn. His physical. I don't know if I want to sign him for all this. We'll guarantee the 6 years, but we want to get you at, I guess it was 157 million. The Twins did 6 years, 200 million, and he's coming back to the Twins. So, what do they do the physicals? I mean, you would think they would do the physicals before they're going to try to ink them to a deal, right? So why is it the deals are being leaked out pending the physical? And it's like that everywhere. I don't understand why.
I wish I had an answer for you, because I was thinking the same thing. I was like, because when I read that and I saw it, I was like, why is there even a deal pitched out there until I see the physical? I'm not offering anything up until I see everything I want to see. You know what I mean? That doesn't make sense. Oh, we're gonna give you this deal pending the physical. Oh well, okay, that makes sense to me. Get everything out first. Do the physical. Once I see the physical, how they do it, I wish I had an answer, and I'm just as lost as everybody else is, because they're probably saying the same thing. And then all the people that's offering these deals are probably saying the same thing. Well, why did I offer him that before the physical? That's a dumb business move.
Yeah, and so I mean, I guess it goes back. And so him re-signing with the Twins, I don't think that should be any problem, because he played with the Twins last year, so they kind of know the injury situation there. But this is going back to something in 2014, where I guess he had broke his leg in the minor league system for the Houston Astros. He'd been playing. I mean, he's had some nagging injuries every now and again, but really nothing that had to do with that ankle. I guess when he broke the ankle, there was a metal plate installed, and it got dinged up, I think, on a slide during the Twins game in September.
Yeah, I think it.
Yeah. And so it aggravated him a little bit, but I mean, he got up and he was able to play. So I mean, I don't know. I think these contracts, especially, and I don't care who it is, but if you're gonna give a contract for 12 seasons, I mean, to me that is long. Do like what the Twins did. If you're gonna give a 5-6 year deal, that's pretty much where it's gonna be anyway, because obviously you're willing to give him the annual value of this. So just shorten the deal. And let's see, Carlos Correa right now, he's 28 years old. So by the time that deal expires, he's 34. Probably around 34, 35, you would expect a little bit of a decline. And then if he's declining, then you'll either let him walk or you'll re-sign him or do whatever you're going to do. But these 12-year deals, my gosh, dude, like this is just gargantuan deals.
Yeah. Imagine signing a 12-year deal. I mean, like, I'm 60 by the time that's over with.
Yeah.
I'm 52, but I mean, still, like, yeah. I mean, by the time the deal's over, man, I'm walking out of there in a walker. Have to wheelchair me out of the state. Gosh.
Well,
the past 5 years, it's 12. I'm good. Hey, long-term deal. Yes. 5 years, great. No, the long-term deal. Yeah, 5 years sounds great. Long-term deal. But what about a short-term deal? See, I'm out in 6 months if you want a short. I don't deal like that. No.
Well, all right, Patrick. Well, hey, that will wrap up this edition of the Breath of Fresh Air webcast. Y'all make sure y'all go to the Breath of Fresh Air YouTube channel, smash that subscribe button, and follow the Breath of Fresh Air Facebook page. Thanks for joining us for this first show of the year, and we are primed and ready for a big year. So continue to follow us, continue to check out the episodes. If you missed a few, catch up, and yeah, be prepared, because a lot of stuff is coming from this webcast this year. So get ready, y'all. I'm telling y'all right now, you heard it here first. So until then, until next week, y'all take care. Have a great rest of the week and enjoy the games. Oh, and Patrick, once again, congrats to Georgia.
Dogs. 3